Hello and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Video Mastermind, where we bring you professionals who share insight into the latest trends, tips, industry, technology, and services to help you create more videos to use in your mortgage business. Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday and welcome to our Mortgage Video Mastermind live Friday call. Today, I have a very special guest with us. So first, I'd like to welcome Scott Sheng, who is always with me here on Friday. So Scott, thanks for being my steady Eddie. I appreciate that.
I would not miss this one for the world.
I know, right? And I have the pleasure and privilege of introducing a very good friend of mine, Renee Rodriguez. And, you know, Renee, when I think of one word that comes to mind with you, it's influencer. Two different ways, not just the fact that you are an influencer, but that you also invoke in people really that desire to influence. And I know that's a lot of what you talk about. And you've shared the stage with the likes of Tony Robbins and George Bush and Ken Blanchard, and are just a powerhouse. We're so blessed to have you in the industry. So thanks for hopping on. And, you know, a couple of things. We focus a lot on video in here. And so I know having an impact on video is so important. So, you know, and what you're seeing out there and what you're doing, and we're going to talk about some of those things that you're doing in a minute. But how can people have an influence on video?
Well, first and foremost, it's an honor to be here. I've been trying to catch up to you, Ginger, since we met, like, I don't know, 15 years ago. Look at all the plaques on the wall. Like, if there's something in the industry, Ginger's done it. And Scott, I'm just hearing so many great things about what you've been doing in the marketplace. So it's an honor to be here. I think, you know, influence on video. I think there's a lot, and I want people to really hear that there's a lot of different ways to think about it. I have one way of thinking about it, and there's others. There's video that people are influencing, holding a camera to themselves and talking. And that's not my kind of influence. I haven't learned that style of sort of very on the spot, hold the camera up, be really transparent in what's happening. I'm learning that style. And that is a very viable style. There's people that are really, really, really good at it to really be authentic and in the moment. And to be quite frank, this next year is one of those pieces I'm going to be trying to adapt. I don't know, maybe it's about my generation or something, but holding a video to myself, I have this little voice that kind of pops up and says, put your phone down, Renee. And so I'm trying to get over that element. But I think...
Okay, so I'm going to stop you there because... Please. I think that's something, and it's a discussion we've had so many times. And honestly, the reason that I started this whole group on Facebook is to, first of all, let other people know they're not alone. So for me, this is like a shock to hear Renee Rodriguez says he has challenges in having the ability to just shoot a video. So that's the first thing to acknowledge. So thank you for sharing that, because I think that's the first and foremost, is to say, hey, it's not my favorite thing. And I do question, you know, should I be doing this, right?
For sure. And I think it's because there's so many different angles. One is, for me, physically holding the camera to myself, I have flashbacks of the influencer holding things up and talking, and it's just not my style. But there are people that I love when they hold the camera up, and I'm listening to them talk because it's just an authentic conversation. And so it's both. And I think we all got to find our voice with it. And I need to find my voice in that sort of self-administered camera. Now, I'm also sitting in a $30,000 studio that I have as my office that has 3 different video cameras going.
Which is sick. I've seen the pictures and I cannot wait to come and see it because it is amazing. But you do this for, I mean, this is what you do for a living. So not just the videos, but the speaking and the training and the coaching and all those things that you do. So it's part of you. People don't necessarily need that in order to get started, though.
They definitely don't. No, I'm trying to create an experience in video. My world was creating experiences internally, or it should be in person. And now I set out to figure out, can you create those same experiences virtually? And we can. You just have to do it differently, and you have to evoke a lot of the different media that's happening, from keeping things dynamic and keeping things novel, creating a little tension, making sure that it's there, having quality audio, video, lighting. All of those things are critical in creating experiences that you can create by holding a phone up to yourself and walking outside, because you got perfect lighting outside, and the microphone on your iPhone or Android is fantastic. So you don't need all of this. but to your point, we do this for a living. You know, Scott looks fantastic. He's got great lighting going on. We have to be able to do that sort of stuff. But I think the other way is video. You do have an opportunity to express an idea and tell a story. This is not new. This has been happening since TV was born.
Right.
People have been communicating and evoking feelings through the little square box that we're all here. The ability to capture and tell a story and know that there's a sequence to it, a narrative that can guide an audience emotionally through a beginning, a middle, and an end to send a message. It's powerful. Like I always say, Mr. Rogers, one of the greatest influencers of all time.
Yeah.
And he did it virtually. He did it all virtually. He had us captured because he told stories and he took us through journeys and building characters and all of that sort of stuff. But what's hard and what we set out to figure out, we've done over 320 virtual events since the pandemic.
Wow.
And that's probably numbers up to 340 now. And most of which were free. And people say, wow, how'd you do so many? I said, free. And they go, why would you do that? I go, because I wanted to figure it out.
Right.
We literally looked at our taxes and our accountant goes, how the hell did you make more money during the pandemic than you did the previous year? And I go, I know. And we didn't work for 6 months because we lost our business completely, zero. And in the last 6 months, we did more business because we put our head down, figured out this video thing than we did in the previous year, which was a great year.
Right.
And so 320 of these events, we figured out there's a lot of things that can be done. There's video that's streamed. There's video that's recorded and edited. So there's lots of different ways. There's videos that we just ad hoc loaded up to Facebook. But all of it gives us the opportunity to communicate an idea and a message. And there are some basic fundamentals, I think, that apply all the way across.
I'd love to drill down on that real quick, Renee, because if I'm hearing you correctly, and tell me if I am, you did all of this video and you did it for free. Number one, you were figuring it out, right? So your audience was probably giving you some slack there. But during that 6 months while you were figuring it out, you were also building trust and building authority, so that when it came time for you to have to sell something, you had this audience that you brought on this journey with you as you were figuring out video. Is that it? Would that be an accurate explanation for why the income, why you were able to make so much money after giving so much stuff away?
You know, I look to people like you guys to give me the reason why, and that sounds like a perfect reason why. I did it. If we were to dissect it, I guess that's exactly what happened. We did it, like our reasoning for it was, okay, this pandemic is hitting. I already know this is not the first scenario we've been through like this. I've been dealing with the irrationality for people's brains for going on to over 25 years now. And so when I saw what was going on, I already knew avian flu, Ebola, Zika, you name it, mad cow disease, all created such massive fear that never killed anybody in the United States. Now, we didn't know what was going to happen with COVID, but I knew irrationality would be part of the equation.
Right.
I knew it'd be part of the equation. And so we knew a lot about irrationality and what was happening in the brain. So I grabbed our team together. I said, we need to just put video out and explain what's going to happen behaviorally and emotionally. And like, how are we going to charge? I'm like, we're not. If somebody's sinking outside and they're about to drown and you have a boat, you don't say how much would it mean to save you. You just go out and you help.
Right.
That was our rationale. We also knew that constraint was coming. And constraint to us, we've been saying it because I looked at our team. I said, this is the time that we either live what we believe, or we realize that we were a facade. Constraint, we've always believed, led to innovation. Mm-hmm. So we sat around and said, this is going to be the most innovative time of our life. I know it doesn't feel like it, but if constraint leads to innovation, then we need to open ourselves up to it. So we need to dive in, figure this stuff out. Our first video was me sitting in front of my iPad with a really big innovation for me. We had two. I had a remote control to turn the iPad on and off, and I had a ring light.
Nice.
And I was testing audio. I literally, if I can share my screen, I would play that video for you because I was just going, I'm like, okay, how does this look? And that was less than a year ago.
Yeah.
And now we're literally sitting in a place where we can do almost anything now, right? And so all of these things, like, just this piece that we want to do, how did you get Zoom or now our StreamYard to be able to do this and be able to communicate messages that create novelty and tension? Those are all different neurotransmitters. And so we did it because we wanted to help and I wanted to learn. I've always been somebody who said, you know what, I'm not the smartest, but I know I can work probably harder than most. Mm-hmm. So let's give as much as we can and learn, because I know I can speed the learning cycle by just failing often. Do a lot of free events because that relieved the pressure of me of having to deliver something.
Right.
And what was crazy is it went from literally free events to $18,000 for an hour-long keynote, 22,000 people. And then we created a story because we said, what if a keynote wasn't a keynote anymore? And my film director, a friend that helped me do this, he goes, what do you mean? He goes, want to make a movie? I'm like, no, stop thinking movies. And I got to stop thinking keynote. And we got to meet in the middle. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, let's pretend that we're merging those two worlds. We're using all of the things that film did to capture our attention, but we're delivering a business message. And he starts thinking, and I start thinking, and all of a sudden we're creating these little moments of, where I come in, I'm like, hey, everybody, it's great to be here. I said, now, before we get started, you have to get used to a few different versions of me. This is me here, pre-recorded, so I can actually make a mistake and fix it, right? And so like I just did. Can you delete that? You don't want to delete that? Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're not going to delete that part because I would, whatever. So I'm here, but there's another version of me that's actually live with you right now. He's going to be commenting. And so, in fact, can we go over to him real quick? And then we slice in me typing at a computer going, oh, hey, what's happening? That kind of stuff on a keynote was just unheard of. And it's still, honestly, no one's doing it on a virtual event. Right. We just wanted to add some humor and things like that, and people coming in on board, and even just different graphics. But yeah, it's just a story to deliver a message, right? And we knew that we wanted to create engagement. People were like, okay, hold on a second, there's something here. And then they would turn and the comments would go crazy. So I think to your point, that journey of wanting to just give probably created that, what you're talking about, building trust. And then when we said, hey, we're doing this, people jumped on board.
Well, and I think, one of the things that I always taught my son is there's two ways to give in life. You can give where it's palm up, where somebody's taking and you're expecting something in return. Or you can give palm down, where you're truly giving. You're not expecting anything in return. And that's what you did. You truly gave. And when that happens, then you align, first of all, with your authentic self, which you truly did, and in finding out what that was and delivering that message. And then it does come back and the creation part happens, which is what you're so good about. So, and I love the idea of being different in terms of video. And that's always the thing that people are challenged with. It's like, how can I be different? How can I have that story? How can I have that interaction? So the way you were doing it, of making it different and changing it up, is so important. So how can a loan originator do something like that? So they have something, it's like nothing sexy about mortgages. Yeah. It is what it is. So what are some things that they can do to be able to add that innovation?
So there's two people I think you should get on the show immediately. One is a good friend, Neil Dingra. Now, if you don't know Neil he literally went from $280,000 a couple years ago to 2.8 million using video and social media.
Cool.
He is incredibly talented. He's not this uber charismatic person, but he's super trustworthy. Right. And when I say he's not charismatic, he's not, rah. He's just calm. He's like, hey, so I just learned this. He's talking to you the whole time. He's doing an event in Vegas come at the end of this month on the 23rd called Forward. It's him, Tom Ferry, Brad Lee, and it's a few other huge influencers. Oh, Billy Jean. I mean, this is a loan officer that pulled these guys together to do his own event using video and social media. And It's all different. He's in touch with the mainstream sort of fad, the fads that are happening, and he does it with a business mortgage twist. But he's also delivering constant communication, and he's posting 3 or 4 times a day. But it's killing it, and it's fantastic. He's just one of the people that when he first started, we would just talk, and I just love what he's doing. Another one is Justin Brown. Justin Brown is really taken into the TikTok video, and he's really learning just how to leverage that platform, which I thought was worthless. For what I do, leveraging that platform to really deliver messages in small sound bites. And his video game is just going up. And so I think that for me to have been able to do what I did, I had to, and I want them to learn this. This will not, if you're starting this, it won't replace selling. Okay. I had the blessing of being able to take 6 months of doing it for free because I sold my ass off the previous 20 years.
Right.
Okay. So selling, if you are making a shift, don't just start and put a video up and hope that the world changes. You got to be willing to put years into this, like anything. Are you willing to grind out and learn the process? and really fail as much as possible. But you got to find a passion to do it, because you got to love the failure. You got to love the process of putting a video up and going, oh God, that sucked. You know, I got so many videos of me going, okay, can you hear me now? Like, okay, what about over here? Okay, is a microphone going here? I'm like, okay, can you see? Why is it doing this? I mean, literally hundreds of those videos of trying to figure it out late at night, early in the morning. You got to be able to love the process, but get in the game, because we are headed that way.
Well, I think another important piece of this and is that during that process, you find your voice, you find your authenticity, because you're reflecting on your own message and you're like, did I deliver that right? Did that sound great? Because all of these people that you mentioned, not once did you say, you'll love this guy because they're exactly like this other person. They never are. They're always completely different from anything else that's out there, because they're their genuine selves. And that was one of the things that I've been saying for years about content marketing, is when you're producing content and you're putting yourself out there, there is no competition, because there is only one you. So if you can be your genuine self, you eliminate the competition, and then it just comes down to exposure. How many people are going to see you? And nobody's going to see you more than if you're doing video right now. And in just today's consumer environment, we watch a lot of video.
That is a great insight, that you're, by doing video, I'm repeating this because I'm learning here. By doing your own video, you're forcing yourself to watch the reel of how you communicate, listening to your message, going, I don't like that, and constantly rehashing it. Do you use OBS, by the way?
I do not.
You don't? Okay.
No.
I do. I'm just saying you've got a slight lag. So it looks like you have a little OBS lag going on.
Oh.
Voice audio syncing. That's it.
That is way more than what our technology has with yours.
No, yeah, OBS is free. I mean, but looks good. So yeah, I love that, because you're constantly having to listen and refine and figure out what your voice is. And I mean, there's so many things that I said, I'm like, oh my God, what was I saying? And then you realize that
we're always our own worst critics.
So I want to talk about that, because I honestly, and Scott, you and I have had this discussion so many times. What keeps people from doing video? First and foremost, I always say, I don't like how I look on video. I don't like how I sound on video. And that is always, I think, the first excuse. But, you know, anytime it's like going into objections, the first objection is not the real objection, right? You got to dig deeper. I think the real objection is that fear of not saying the right thing and watching it and watching you say it. So if you think about, if you had to watch every single conversation that you had throughout the day and edit every single conversation that you have throughout the day, what would you think of yourself? And so video, it takes who you are, and now you're seeing that reflection, but that's what everybody else sees. So, you know, yes, I think when we first get started, and I honestly, when I first started doing video, it was in 2008 with continuing education and Mortgage Meltdown, and nobody was doing anything live. So we had to do video. And I would shoot video, I would send it to my editor, and I said, edit it. I don't want to see it. If there's a mistake that I need to re-record, let me know what it is, and I will redo it. I didn't want to watch it because I didn't like it. But I've gotten over it over time, and I'm still critical that way. You work so much in the neuroscience and behaviors in the brain. What can someone do? What should we do to be able to say, you're okay, keep doing it, and don't look at it so much. Don't have that, you know, negative mindset where it's like, I don't like that, I sound this way, whatever. How can we overcome that?
Yeah, how do we remove the anchor of second guessing?
Yeah.
Well, I was an athlete, so I played basketball. And when I first started, I sucked. I couldn't do layups. I couldn't figure out left hand from right hand. I would like to play the piano. And I jump on the piano. I watch my son play, and I try to figure it out, and I suck. And I try to do anything new. I'm not good at it. I think stop expecting to be good right away. Like, just stop. Like where the hell did that come from? Yeah. Like I try, oh, that sucks. I didn't do that. Like, no, yes, of course. That's part of a learning curve. Right. You're going to not do well. And guess what? How long do you want to do well? It depends on how many times you're going to fail. And that sounds so cliche that you're not even going to listen to what I just said. It's cliche because it's true. We say it over and over and over again. Anything. If I were you, say, Renee, dissect this credit report, I'd be like, oh God, no. And Renee, process this loan. I'm going to suck at processing a loan. I'm just not going to be good at it. Renee, do a video animation. I don't know how to do video animation. I can kind of work, what's it, Final Cut Pro. Pretty good. Do an animation, everything else. No, I'm going to suck because I don't know yet. So as you begin to speak, I'm at the point, because I'm 27 years doing this, I hit a button, I record one video, one take, and it's over. That's 27 years of failing. My kids in here are watching. They go, I remember, Dad, when you used to, because they watch all the failures.
Right.
So stop expecting to be good and just start messing it up, start getting it out there, go. And I can't stop that voice, because guess what? That voice is accurate. You suck at first. I suck at everything at first. So don't try to eliminate a voice that's saying, okay, but stop the expectation of not being good. That's the part that we got to stop.
Well, and I think that's, Scott and I have had conversations, and, I think over time, we're working on some things, we'll involve you in it, but kind of getting into being able to create a safe environment where people can come, do some of that recording, get some of the coaching, things like that, because that helps to move on. I used to be, years before I got in the mortgage industry, I was a corporate trainer with Dale Carnegie Training. And that was one of the things that we did to get people over their fear of public speaking, is put them in a safe environment and allow them to make those mistakes, but to do it in a way that's comfortable. One of the things, and I think back to what we did with the beginning part, the very first session of Dale Carnegie, you told a story about yourself. So when you got up to speak, it was something you were comfortable with. You knew it. You had it from the heart. So I think that's the most important thing when you're starting with video. Talk about something you're comfortable about. And stories are one of the easiest ways to be able to do that. So if you have a borrower that you've helped get into a VA loan, cancel their mortgage insurance. I just had somebody today post, I'm looking for ideas for content. And it's like, how do you cancel mortgage insurance? Relate to the story, and it'll make it easier to tell. And it won't seem like you're messing up because you're telling a story.
I agree. And the thing that you're saying from a neuropsychology perspective, if you will, psychological safety is what will allow the creativity to happen. But that psychological safety begins with the inner dialogue that you have with yourself and how you explain things, which is why you got to talk mindset first, because you're going to create that safety or uncreate it. Now, we can have a bunch of people that are being supportive, which is critical. But if I don't have that, I got to create the safety for myself, which designing what the expectations are. If I know I'm going to fall, and make failing safe. Like some of the best ski instructors go, okay, I'm going to teach you these 5 things. Okay, stop, go fall 10 times, and then come back. Well, I don't want to fall 10 times. I don't care what I teach you. I can't avoid those first 10 falls. So go fall 10, and then you're going to have new questions and a new understanding and more context, so you understand about the next 5 lessons. You got to be able to go fall. And all of this, the creating safety, and Ginger, you nailed it. When we do Amplify, the first day is just an exploration of origin story. We ask you 3 questions. Who are you? What do you do? What makes you unique? And we watch people stumble over those questions and answer them from a robotic standpoint. But I tell them, I was like, if you're at happy hour, would you think this hard about what you're saying with your friends? You would just talk.
Right.
And you would share memories. And the best thing about memory, they go and they go, well, I got my stories right here. I go, are these memories? They go, then why do you need the notes? Memories are memorized. Just hit play. And then meet the story at the end and say, the reason I share this with you is, and there's a full sequence.
Well, and you have a formula for it too. And I think that's another thing where people struggle, is coming up with a formula. So if you have a formula of what you're going to do in the beginning, write that down. And then know where you're going next in the story. It's like you don't go on vacation and not know where your destination is, although I've always wanted to do that. But, you have an idea, you know where you're going, you know how you're going to get there. It doesn't mean you know every single step along the way, but you have a general idea. And as long as you have a general idea, then that can help to get you started. So you talked about Amplify, and we're coming up close to our time. We try to keep these at 30 minutes. We started out with 15. That was not enough. 10 to 30, and I think we're like up to 40 now. But before we do, I want you to talk about Amplify and tell me, what is Amplify?
So Amplify is a 3-day 2.5, 3-day intensive boot camp experience for 10 people at a time, where they come to learn the science of influence and then apply it. So it's an applied 3 days. When I talk about intense, you are in front of the room, you are the one delivering, and usually I'm a couple feet away from you, helping you dissect first body language, because that's the first thing we communicate. I come on board, I haven't said anything, and I'm like, here, I'm going, I'm already communicating something's wrong, right? So I've got to understand where my body position is, how do I use my hands, where I stand, all of those elements that are communicating. Am I leaning on one side? Am I fig leafing, covering parts of my body? All of those things are communicating messages, right? And so we fix that first. And then we go, okay, well, what do I say? Don't worry about what to say. Let's worry about the source of what you're going to say first. And the source typically is something up here. We want to move from down here to down a little lower, right? Because if we can get to the heart of what it is, and you nailed it, Ginger, memories, your heart is your memories, your beliefs, and your values. If we can hit play on some of those stories, you don't have to script it. You just talk about something that is part of who you are, something you lived. But getting people to give themselves permission to do that is the hard part. That takes a day to get 10 people there. Now, the first time you get the source right and it comes out sloppy. So then we spend another day cleaning that up into a sequence that works with the brain. So it's getting your heart to speak in sequence with a value proposition for a business influence objective. And so that process creates massive transformation in people and how they think and how they speak and how they communicate interpersonally, as well as on video and in front of a room. So Amplify is it's a really fun but very transformational 2.5, 3 days.
Well, and I see it as an opportunity for those who do want to get started with video and want to overcome some of those fears, the mindset, and get into that ability. Because whether you're speaking on stage to a person or to a camera, it is all the same. It is your voice, it is your body language, it is your eye contact, it is your message, all of that. So I see that as a great opportunity for those who do want to find that voice to be able to do that.
And we have 2 video cameras recording 100% of the event. So you've got a scrolling on a slider camera going here, and you've got a locked in camera that's right here the whole time, beautifully lit. I mean, it is the highest quality video you could ask for, so that we capture those moments where your heart begins to speak, and we capture the before, we capture afterwards. All your notes are chaptered. So every time I'm mic'd up the entire time, so I'm giving you feedback. If you want, I can show a short video of a transformation of somebody to go through it. If you like to, you want to see it? You want to see Sam? You want to see Sam Parker, which is more humorous? You guys know Sam? Or do you want to see? There's a guy by the name of Tony Tileman, and Tony was a $150 million producer. Came in. This is a much better produced video, but came in and we'll just do Sam because you know Sam. I'll play it for you real quick.
My name is Sam Parker.
Sorry, one more thing, maybe a couple of things if I remember. You're gonna count his ums. Okay. So Sam, tell us about you.
My name is Sam Parker.
You're already 2 ums in.
From Iowa originally. Okay, let's do it. All right. Shake off the ums. My name is Sam Parker. First and foremost, I'm a father to 2, 4 and 6-year-old, Paige and Quinn. I'm a husband to my wife, Trisha, 10 years.
So we're going to start over again. You know what the solution is to ums and ahs? You learned it last night.
Silence.
Be conscious of your swaying, ums, ahs. We're going to reel all this stuff in.
My name's Sam Parker. I'm originally from Iowa.
Stressful, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to count his ums, ahs, likes, and okays.
Always do the right thing, no matter the reward or the consequence. I found myself in 2014 at a company.
So you're going to start over because you've clapped 3 times.
Well, you got rid of my ums. I got to move on to something else. there I was, 18 years old, the culmination of 17 years of hard work. I was on the wrestling mat in the semifinals of the Iowa State Championships. I don't need to tell you how it went or how I lost, other than the fact that I lost that match. And it was devastating. And I got a letter that said, Iowa is no longer an option for you. Go off and do something else, come back when you're ready. I think that as we all become successful, sometimes we forget about the times when we felt like losers. But I'll tell you one thing that makes you feel like a loser is when you go to apply for a home loan for your family and your mortgage lender tells you no, and go do something else and come back when you're ready. I am 17 years into my career with credit repair, just like I was 17 years in with wrestling. And I'm going to constantly improve because I know that when I let up, that's when you fail. And I'm not a failure. My name's Sam Parker, and I would love to do business with you.
Amazing.
Wow.
Kind of fun.
So
So that,
So,
Yeah,
and the transformation, and that was 3 days?
that was 2. Well, it was a dinner plus 2 full days. Yeah.
So 2 full days. So to go from that, and Sam does a lot of videos. Sam does a lot of speaking. And to be
This
able
was 3 years ago before he was doing the quality he's doing
I
now.
was going to say he does a lot now.
But to see that is so amazing. And that's what can happen for people by having some of that coaching. That is so important. So whether you're doing the speaking events, whether you want to start doing videos, webinars, whatever that is, you are a professional. And so part of honing that craft is to be able to learn and to spend that time. And I know you have an event that's coming up in August 19th. It is a one-day event, though. It's not a 2-day event.
Yep.
So tell me about the event, because Scott and I are planning.
Wow, that would be so fun to have you guys there. That would be great. I have always dreamed of having my own event. I've sat on the docket, begging to speak at other people's events, waiting and taking the lunches and waiting and being told I was going to speak and then being pulled off and saying, oh, sorry, we went another route. And then finally getting to the place where I'm speaking all the time. But I was like, I said, God, if I could just have my own event. So finally, this is the first time we're doing it. We pulled the trigger. We got a 1-day full event. It's actually a pre-event to the Originator Connect conference that's happening the following 2 days. So our event is a 1-day. We're limiting it to 500 people. A lot of the people that are coming are alumni. And if you've ever seen the alumni who've been through Amplify, it's kind of a who's who in the mortgage industry of production. These guys and gals are ridiculous. Some of them worth, literally responsible for billions of dollars in production, 100 million, 500 million, 200 million. It's ridiculous, the people that are going to be in the room, but the humility of the people that come to Amplify events are people that really hold true to what their values are, want to have those conversations, constantly looking to improve, always coachable. So it's not an ego filled room, which is what I love. Somebody once said, I have one person that literally had purchased 12 Amplifies this year himself at $5,000 per, to give you an idea. And he said the one thing that he noticed that separates an Amplify event is what people talk about. They talk about their families. They talk about their values and what makes them important. They talk about their spouses and their kids. This is not, they don't come to our event to do other stuff. It's like literally it's about learning how to grow, how to improve, tell your story in a business format that really drives revenue. So it's 1 day. It's going to be very interactive. We've got some very, very, very big names that are coming that are going to be in the audience. A couple will be up on stage with me for a couple pieces, but really to guide you through overview of what the Amplify process is through some exercises and group work as well. So it's going to be a very interactive event.
Awesome. Great.
And you get free access to Originator Connect with purchase of our ticket.
Perfect. And they can register at amplifylive.com.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Right there.
Right there. And if you want to use a code on July 1st, the early bird goes away. It's $4.95 right now. If you use the code RENE100, RENE 100, you get $100 off, but that goes away on July 1st. So I do urge people to use that right away. Or wait. I'd much rather take the $4.95.
Or wait.
So if you're watching this for the replay, we're going to put that information down below. And Renee, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys.
It's always wonderful to see you, even though it's virtually. And I look forward to seeing you and giving you a big hug on the 19th. And tell your mama I said hello.
I will. Thank you both. You guys are doing such great work, and I appreciate letting me come on your platform and talk about what I'm passionate about. And please keep doing what you're doing. If you're watching this, listen to these two people. Everything that they're saying, it is absolutely gold. I know I'm paying attention, and both of them have served as mentors in one way, shape, or form in my life, in my career. So I want to thank you both.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you guys.
Okay, so you guys, we're off next week for the long weekend, and we'll be back the following Friday. So stay tuned and make sure to pass us on to join the Mortgage Video Mastermind group. Thanks, Renee. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Scott, I'll see you Sunday.
Yes, you will.
Okay, bye.